Have you ever unwrapped a chocolate bar and wondered how it ended up in your hands? What you are holding now, smooth and sweet, started out as something completely different. Chocolate was not always a candy. It began as a bitter, sacred drink deep in the rainforests, long before sugar, long before milk, long before Europe even knew cocoa existed. Today, we are tracing that journey. We will travel from wild cacao trees and lush jungles to Maya and Aztec courts, sail across oceans with colonial explorers, step into Victorian factories, and finally arrive at the chocolate bars lining store shelves today. You will see how one forest, fruit-shaped empires, trade, and culture, every bite carries centuries of human history. Let's begin. Thousands of years ago, in the rainforests of Central and South America, a tree grew quietly. Theobroma cacao. To us now, cacao might seem ordinary, but back then, it was magical. Archaeologists have found traces of cacao residues dating back roughly 5,300 years in what is now Ecuador. People in these forests discovered the pods, opened them, tasted the pulp and seeds. Picture it: humid air, birds chirping, rich earthy scents, damp soil, and the faint bitterness of crushed seeds. Maybe someone roasted the beans over a slow fire, ground them with stones, and mixed them with water. No sugar, no milk, pure, raw cacao, bitter, powerful, possibly used as medicine, a fermented drink, or in rituals. That early encounter started a legacy that would ripple through centuries, across continents, and eventually into your pocket. Centuries later, cacao reached Mesoamerica. The Maya civilization, roughly to 50 to 900 CE, refined cacao into what we might recognize as chocolate. They roasted cacao beans, ground them into a paste, and mixed it with water and spices. Sometimes chili was added to create a warming, stimulating drink. The mixture was poured from one vessel to another until a froth formed. The Maya called it xocolotl, meaning bitter water. Chocolate was sacred. Priests used it as offerings to gods. Nobles and warriors drank it at feasts. It was not dessert. It was ritual, power, and devotion. Imagine a temple at dusk, incense in the air. A painted pottery vessel rises, frothy steam spiraling upward. A priest lifts it, closes his eyes, and drinks. The bitterness hits first, then warmth spreads. That is chocolate as a bridge between humans, earth, and divine belief. Fast forward to the Aztec Empire. Around 1300 to 1521 CE, chocolate was more than a drink. Cacao beans served as currency. People used them to buy food, pay taxes, and even for dowries. A turkey could cost a handful of beans, a rabbit fewer. Beans were wealth in tangible form. Montezuma, the Aztec ruler, reportedly consumed large amounts of chocolate daily. Though exact quantities are uncertain, his drink often included chili, maize, and honey, though recipes varied depending on region and occasion. Chocolate was both energizing and symbolic. Cacao held spiritual weight. The Aztecs believed the cacao tree was a gift from Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god. Sipping chocolate was a sip of divine legacy. Markets in Tenochtitlan buzzed with traders haggling over beans. Nobles drank frothy cacao from decorated vessels. Warriors, priests, and merchants were all bound by the value of cacao. Chocolate was economy, belief, and identity. It connected daily life to the cosmic. In the early 1500s, European explorers returned from the Americas with strange cacao pods. They had seen the Aztecs drinking chocolate. They tried it, bitter, strange, unfamiliar. Curiosity, however, won. Back in Europe, they experimented. They added sugar, cinnamon, vanilla, or honey. Bitterness became comfort. Spice became dessert. By the 1600s, chocolate houses appeared across Spain, France, England, and Italy. Salons, cafes, and wealthy courts embraced drinkable chocolate. Imagine a candlelit European cafe in 1650. Gentle music, steam rising from ceramic cups. Patrons, poets, merchants, aristocrats sip and discuss politics, art, and philosophy. Chocolate had transformed. No longer sacred, it became luxury, status, and indulgence. European powers realized cacao's potential. Plantations began in the Caribbean, Central, and South America. Production increased for European export. Chocolate's identity had shifted again from ritual to commerce, from sacred to status. For centuries, chocolate was primarily a drink. The Industrial Revolution changed that. In 1828, Dutch chemist Conrad van Houten invented the cocoa press. It separated cocoa butter from solids, creating cocoa powder. Chocolate became smoother, cheaper, and more consistent. Manufacturing scaled up. In 1847, an English company combined cocoa solids, cocoa butter, and sugar to make the first solid chocolate bar. Chocolate could finally be eaten, not just drunk, portable, shareable, durable. In 1875, Swiss chocolatier Daniel Peter added condensed milk to chocolate. Milk chocolate was born, sweeter, smoother, less bitter. It brought chocolate to the masses. Factories now mass-produced chocolate. Machines roasted beans, ground them, mixed sugar, molded bars, and wrapped them. Chocolate moved beyond noble courts. Workers and families could enjoy it. Picture a Victorian factory floor, machines clanging, steam rising, chocolate scent thick in the air. Children snatched candies at the end of shifts. Chocolate had become universal. Its journey had entered a new stage, mass market consumption. This transformation did not just change taste, it reshaped economies, diets, and global trade. Chocolate became both pleasure and commodity. Chocolate is everywhere today. Bars in every shape, flavors from dark to milk, nut to fruit, caramel to spice, cafes, candy shops, holiday specials. Chocolate is comfort, celebration, and indulgence. Yet behind the sweetness lies complexity. More than 60% of the world's cacao comes from West Africa, especially Ghana and Ivory Coast. Cacao farming is labor-intensive, weather-dependent, and often underpaid. Many farmers survive on meager incomes. Some work in conditions that still raise concerns about child labor and unfair wages. Deforestation is another issue. Tropical forests cleared for cacao plantations affect ecosystems and biodiversity. Each chocolate bar carries a hidden history, trade, sweetness, and struggle. Fortunately, movements for fairness and sustainability are growing. Fair trade certifications, direct trade chocolate makers, and community-based cooperatives aim to give power back to farmers. Ethical sourcing, transparent supply chains, and sustainable farming are spreading. Chocolate today sits at a crossroads. It remains pleasure and sweetness, but comes with responsibility and questions about the world behind it. Chocolate is not just a snack. Its story is about humanity. It tells of discovery, adaptation, trade, conquest, industry, and culture. It shows how a forest plant became sacred, then ritual, then luxury, then mass market delight. How trade and colonization spread it globally. How innovation and industry made it widely accessible. And how modern consumption now carries ethical responsibilities. Chocolate mirrors human history, our curiosity, flaws, creativity, and capacity for transformation. Every bite connects you to ancient forests, ritual ceremonies, royal courts, colonial plantations, factory floors, and modern markets. This is why chocolate matters, not just for taste, but for the story behind it. In some ancient Maya tombs, archaeologists found cacao residues, indicating it was considered sacred, enough for the afterlife. Early European chocolate drinks were often flavored with clove, ginger, or even rare ambergris. Patrons believed it had medicinal properties. The classic chocolate bar shape comes from innovations in the 1800s, when cocoa press technology and sugar refining enabled solid chocolate. Today, single-origin chocolates highlight the unique flavors of beans from individual farms or regions. Much like fine wine or coffee, next time you unwrap a chocolate bar, pause. You are not just tasting sugar and cocoa. You are tasting thousands of years of human history, exploration, rituals, colonization, innovation, and even struggle. Chocolate is not just a treat. It is a journey, a legacy, a connection across time. If this story resonated, hit like, subscribe, and join me for more deep dives into the hidden histories behind everyday things. Every bite has a story, and when you know that story, you taste it differently.